فويل للذين يكتبون الكتاب بأيديهم ثم يقولون هذا من عند الله ليشتروا به ثمنا قليلا فويل لهم مما كتبت أيديهم وويل لهم مما يكسبون
অতএব তাদের জন্য আফসোস যারা নিজ হাতে গ্রন্থ লেখে এবং বলে এটা আল্লাহর পক্ষ থেকে অবতীর্ণ, যাতে এর বিনিময়ে সামান্য অর্থ গ্রহণ করতে পারে। অতএব তাদের প্রতি আক্ষেপ তাদের হাতের লেখার জন্য এবং তাদের প্রতি আক্ষেপ তাদের উপার্জনের জন্য।
فَوَيْلٌ لِلَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ الْكِتَابَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ. Then the worst form of destruction, what terrible curse and destruction for those who wrote the book with their own hands. So Allah is talking about a practice within the Israelites that they would write the book with their own hands. Now, with the Quran, Allah did not give us that power even if we wanted to. Even if the human beings tried to come up with another Quran or change it or alter it, we can't do it. But then, the word kitab is used here. The word kitab doesn't just mean book, it also means law. It also means law. So we can't change Allah's book. What's the next best thing? Change its interpretation. Why don't you interpret it in a way that will fit your agenda a little better? Why won't you interpret it in a way that waters it down so that it comes across as easier? Or it makes you feel better about your disobedience? So their crime was they would write the book with their own hand. And our crime has become in our times to interpret it completely differently than it was meant to be interpreted. فَوَيْلٌ لِلَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ الْكِتَابَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ ثُمَّ يَقُولُونَ هَذَا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. Then they say this is especially from Allah. This is definitely from Allah. So they try to sell it off as the authentic book of Allah. As many a times within the corrupt ranks of the Muslims will try to sell off a deviant, corrupted interpretation of Allah's book as this is the right Islam. هَذَا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ لِيَشْتَرُوا بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. Allah is talking about the Israelites, He says, so that they can sell it for a pathetic, minuscule price. For a very little price they want to sell this book. This is why they reinterpret the book. Because they want to, pass a fatwa, basically, that is going to please someone who's going to give them a donation. لِيَشْتَرُوا بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. So they can sell it for a small price. فَوَيْلٌ لَهُمْ مِمَّا كَتَبَتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ. Then the worst destruction for what they wrote with their own hands. وَوَيْلٌ لَهُمْ مِمَّا يَكْسِبُونَ. And the worst destruction for them because of out of what they earned. In other words, there are two crimes here. One, they were changing Allah's book. That's a crime enough. But then Allah said, why were they changing it? So they could sell it. So they could sell that interpretation, and selling it means people will actually be willing to listen to them and come to them. And let me tell you how this manifests in the Muslim community. You can have, and I've seen this with my own eyes, in masajid, where the imam is saying certain practices are not permissible. The imam is saying this. Alhamdulillah, this is not the case in our masjid. But there are certain masajid where, the imam has been hired, he's a qualified scholar, he has his opinions on things, and the community is not exactly, I won't use the word liberal, I'll just say they like partying a little more than normal, okay? But they have a very scholarly imam, and the imam says this and this practice is not good, we're not going to do this. Or this kind of gathering, we're not going to have it in the masjid, or whatever. He'll pass his ruling on it. And they'll come to him and say, no really, we need you to say in this khutbah that this is okay. We need you to legitimize this practice because some board members are getting upset. And the fundraiser is coming, and if they get upset, we're not going to raise a lot of funds. So you need to be, you need to keep your mouth shut about it. If at least you can't condone it, don't say anything about it. What is this? Selling the deen. This is what this is. That's literally what this is. And I know a lot of imams who've quit their jobs because they refuse to sell their religion for pressure from people. People want to hear what they want to hear. The imam wants to tell them what Allah has to say. Right? You have to be genuine to the deen. But this doesn't happen every time. Even scholars and imams are human beings. So it may even happen that they succumb to that pressure and say, look, I got a family to feed also, I have a job as well. So I might just stay quiet, I'll just play along, And this happens too. So what are they doing these fatwa for? They're selling it for a small price. People are putting pressure on them to issue them rulings that will legitimize certain practices that they're doing. لِيَشْتَرُوا بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا فَوَيْلٌ لَهُمْ مِمَّا كَتَبَتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَوَيْلٌ لَهُمْ مِمَّا يَكْسِبُونَ. So the first was them writing it with their own hands. The second, what they earned because of selling it. Both of those crimes, they get destruction for, separate destruction for.